Donald Trump has defied the odds once more, securing a second term as president. While his win is surprising to some, certain critical factors fueled his path to victory over Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party. What were the key drivers behind his success? And what led voters to choose Trump once again? In this video, we're breaking down 7 powerful reasons that handed Trump the White House for a historic comeback. Voters' frustrations and economic concerns. A major factor was economic discontent. Despite some successful policies under the Biden administration, Americans were still feeling the pinch from inflation, high living costs, and lingering economic challenges. For many voters, Biden's administration had become synonymous with economic struggle and soaring prices. Under Trump's prior presidency, the economy saw low inflation, robust stock markets, and strong job growth. This left a lasting impression on many Americans who remembered better economic conditions. Trump tapped into this discontent, positioning himself as the one who could restore prosperity and ease financial strain. This message was powerful for voters who blamed Democrats for their economic struggles and saw Trump as a return to financial stability. Rural America's strong turnout. Rural America once again showed up strongly for Trump, a trend dating back to the 1960s. High rural turnout is crucial for Republicans, and this election was no different. Rural counties across swing states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Georgia overwhelmingly favored Trump, with higher participation than urban areas, where Democratic support wavered. The Democrats have struggled to shake their image as a party of liberal elites, which has only furthered rural loyalty to the GOP. Efforts by Democrats to connect with rural voters often fell short, reinforcing the divide. Trump, meanwhile, consistently validated rural concerns, appearing as a voice for Americans who felt ignored and marginalized. This loyalty from rural voters became a critical advantage in swing states, proving key to Trump's victory. Shifting support among minorities. One of the most surprising trends this election was Trump's increasing support from minority communities. Trump won a larger share of Black and Hispanic votes than any Republican candidate in recent memory. Key areas with high African American populations, like Georgia's Baldwin County, shifted Republican for the first time in nearly 2 decades. Hispanic voters in Arizona and Nevada leaned more toward Trump, providing critical support in these battleground states. While Democrats traditionally rely on minority votes, Trump's appeal crossed usual political boundaries, resonating with conservative values within these communities. Trump's coalition of white rural voters, combined with minority voters, shattered the notion that the Democratic Party could count on these groups as their electoral base. The gender divide didn't help Harris. Kamala Harris aimed to galvanize women voters, particularly around the issue of reproductive rights following the Supreme Court's reversal of Roe v. Wade. Yet, while Harris did gain support among women, Trump's male voter base proved much larger and more energized. For example, Trump dramatically increased his support among Latino men, jumping from 36% to 54%. His popularity among men offset the support Harris gained from women, particularly in rural and conservative-leaning areas. Ultimately, the gender gap proved too wide for Harris to overcome, as Trump led among men by about 22 points, while Harris's lead among women was far narrower. Declining Democratic turnout. Turnout can make or break an election, and this time, lower Democratic turnout was a decisive factor. Fewer voters showed up compared to 2020, especially in urban strongholds critical for Democrats, such as Philadelphia and Milwaukee. While suburban and rural turnout stayed strong for Republicans, the Democrats couldn't mobilize their base effectively. Turnout declined most in Democratic-leaning areas, suggesting that many potential Harris voters simply didn't make it to the polls. As a result, Trump secured a win in states that might have otherwise leaned Democratic, reinforcing the importance of turnout in tight races. Hey, Golden Throwback fans, ready to take a trip down memory lane? Perfect Fifth has you covered with graphic tees that celebrate the music you love. Check out this cassette-era design, a tribute to those mixtape days. Or vibe with Melting Vinyl Sunset, bringing back the golden age of records. And for the Patriots, Stars, Stripes, and Strings, combines music and Americana in a style all your own. Get it for yourself or as the perfect gift for the music lover in your life. And right now, get 30% off your order with code THROWBACK30 at checkout. Click the link in the description to shop now. Perfect Fifth, wear the rhythm, relive the moments. Perceptions of Democratic hypocrisy versus Trump's authenticity. A perception of Democratic hypocrisy played a role in shaping this election's outcome. Many voters felt the Democrats were out of touch on international issues, like support for Israel, which alienated some communities, including Arab Americans. Biden's administration, which spoke often of democratic values, seemed at odds with certain policies that contradicted this rhetoric. Trump's unfiltered and unapologetic style, on the other hand, struck many voters as authentic. Despite his controversial statements, his supporters felt he said what he meant. His straightforward approach allowed him to appeal to voters who distrusted the perceived doublespeak of the Democrats. The influence of economic priorities over social issues. While Democrats had expected reproductive rights and democratic values to be leading concerns, economic issues, particularly inflation and job stability, dominated the voter mindset. According to exit polls, 35% of voters saw economic conditions as the top issue, with Trump leading decisively among these voters by nearly 80%. By contrast, only 14% of voters cited abortion rights as their primary concern. The result? Economic anxieties eclipsed social issues, with many voters willing to prioritize financial security over social policies. Trump's messaging, which centered on creating jobs and lowering costs, resonated with people struggling to make ends meet, and was a powerful motivator to vote for his return to the White House. In the end, Trump's victory was the result of a convergence of factors that resonated deeply with voters: economic woes, rural loyalty, and even inroads with minority voters. Add in lower Democratic turnout and a perception of authenticity that Trump successfully crafted, and the former president managed a historic comeback. Whether these factors will shift in future elections remains uncertain, but for now, they've shown why Donald Trump won the White House once again. Now it's time to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments below on what you expect in the next 4 years under Trump's leadership. Your insights make these discussions richer, so let us know where you think America is headed.